All right, everybody, happy Friday. Coming to you live once again from my humble abode here in Fairfield, Ohio. This is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. We thank you for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever service you're using to tune in. So please pull up a chair, turn up the volume, grab yourself a beer if you've got the opportunity. If you do not, shame on you. I hope you're not still stuck at work. Hope a lot of you had the day off today with Good Friday. I did not. But anyways, pull up that chair, crack open that cold one, and let's put an end to this week's hostage situation and look forward to another almighty weekend. Folks, I teased it earlier, and he's already in the room with me here. So give a big Green Legion Radio welcome to my good friend, Coach Brian Wells. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Great. I'm in Tampa, so I'm doing
yeah,
better.
I'm sure you're just fine, aren't you?
Yeah.
I see our good friend David Califoot is already in the room. Yankees blow. That's David lives in Iowa. He is an Eagles fan, a Red Sox fan, and a Georgia Bulldogs fan. Don't ask.
He has no allegiance.
But yeah, Dave, we know. You think the Yankees stink. Got it. Red Sox swallow. Tell you that every week. Lou Mancini in the room. Phillies game was pretty messed up. Yep, caught the end of that 7-run 8th inning, I think it was, given up by the Phil's bullpen. Not the way you want to open your year. Keenan Harmon joins us. Phillies suck too. Yeah, well, it's a tough start, but I still think you got a top 5 roster in all of baseball, so I think you'll be just fine. And there's Fanny. What's up, Adam? Me and my grandson Josiah watching. Hi, Coach. No Bengals allowed. Roll Tide, roll. So Fanny's one of she's part of our group out here, Midwest Eagles Nest. So she's in our Facebook group here. She comes in here pretty much every week now for the last 3-4 weeks. Always adds a lot of laughter and content.
I will say this, Eagles fans.
Up?
I hate the Cowboys.
It's true.
You guys show me a little love there. I hate the Cowboys.
Who doesn't hate the Cowboys?
They're my top 5 hated worst teams. Like they're debatable with the Browns and the 49ers.
And Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh's got to be in that mix, no?
I really don't hate Pittsburgh. I hate the Browns. If that's the original. If you're a true Bengals fan, an old school Bengals fan, you hate the Browns because Paul Brown.
Right, Paul Brown. Yeah, got it. Yep. So real quick, the business end of things here, folks. You know, you see it scrolling on the bottom of the screen here. Trips.greenlegion.com. Early bird for all 2024 away invasions is open. It is $150 per person for the deposit. If the schedule comes out at the beginning of May and the dates that you wanted, so say you wanted to go to New Orleans, like we're trying to do, and the dates come out, schedule's released, and the dates do not work, you can shift that deposit to another trip, like Los Angeles or Cincinnati if you chose to come out here. And you don't lose your place in line, and you're still grandfathered right in there. So trips.greenlegion.com. Get signed up. This is for your travel packages only. For my folks here in Ohio, you hear me say it over and over again. Folks, when we're looking at the birds coming to Cincinnati, you do not want to put a deposit in for that, okay? Because what you're going to purchase would be the game day stuff, which will be available later this summer, and I will let you know when. That's your ticket, tailgate, pep rally, some combination of that. And like I've told all of you guys, if you got your own tickets, you got your own tickets. More power to you. If you don't want to do the pep rally, that's fine. The only thing I'm going to ask of all of you, and I don't ask for anything from you at all throughout the year. The only thing I am going to ask for you is please come out for at least the tailgate for that game when the Green Legion comes into town. All right, you'll make me look good in front of my boss. So again, trips.greenlegion.com. Get signed up for an away trip. We are trying to go to New Orleans. I know we've got a couple of other people here. Kevin and Marissa are trying to go, and I think Gina was trying to show some interest too. So like to get as many people out on the road and invading a town near you. Brian, how's the weather down there in Tampa?
78 and sunny.
Yeah, we actually got lucky here today. It was like 73 and sunny here in Cincinnati, which is a rarity on March 29th. But I will take it every day and twice on Sunday. Let's see. Califoot in the room. It was 7 runs, but coming from a Yankees. This dude, like, Califoot, if you were in the room, I would just mute you. If you were in here with Brian, I would just hit mute and let you just scream into the void. You're going to finish in last place again, you and your stinking ass Red Sox. You can't hit and you can't pitch. The Yankees might not be able to pitch that well, but we will out-hit you. So I would pipe down. Quit while you're behind, buddy.
Reds. Can I get a prop to my Reds?
Yeah, nice opening day yesterday, right?
Very nice opening
victory.
Day win.
Yeah, nice opening day. Weather wasn't bad here. A lot cooler yesterday, but it was sunny. People looked like they were having a good time. Downtown was loaded for the opening day stuff. I do have a problem with the fact that it's not the first game anymore.
Yeah, I don't like that either, but
I just it bothers me tradition wise, and I'm a very much with baseball anyways. A get off my lawn type of old school like that. You know what I mean? So when it comes to stuff like that,
you are a grumpy old man.
I'd turn it into one, brother. I tell you that.
You were one when you were young. When I first met you, you were a grumpy old man.
But I do like, that was always just part of tradition. Even when I didn't live here, you knew the first game of the year was the first ever team, right? It was the Reds.
Yeah.
And they changed it a few years ago, and I don't like it.
Right.
But money talks and BS walks.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's all about the money.
Yep. So before I ramble on too long, Brian, I talked you up when I was teasing the show. I have told folks, so who's Brian? I got a couple of text messages. I said, look, I've known this guy for about 17 years. This man has probably forgotten more about football than myself and a lot of my buddies will ever know. Can you give us some background on yourself for where you played and what you did coaching-wise and all of that sort of thing?
Played high school ball at Mason, locally there at Mason. I only had one football scholarship offer, and that was to Tiffin University. Went there, spring break, came back home, and ended up blowing my ACL out. And back then, I was like, I hated school anyways. So I was like, if I can't play football, that was the only reason I was really going to.
You're going to fit right in with this crowd, dude.
Yeah, so that's I regretted that decision later. Don't get me wrong. But so then a few years later, I started playing semi-pro football. Played for a few years there. Well, more than a few years. Which actually ended up leading me to coaching. Off and on semi-pro football for probably at least 15, 20 years. And then I started coaching at Thomas More College, coached there for a couple of years. And then I was offered a position in Arena Football 2 with the Cincinnati Swarm. And then bounced around various different professional indoor football leagues. Was actually co-coach of the year as the head coach of the Miami Valley Silverbacks. It was a road travel team in the CIFL that they were like 0-10 the year before, and we went to the playoffs before losing to the eventual champions, the Cincinnati Commandos, and then I joined the Commandos the following year.
Can't beat them, join them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Spent a year out in Texas, coaching with the Texas Revolution. indoor football. The year before I got there, they were the Allen Wranglers, and T.O. played for them. So, and T.O. actually came to one of, because he was friends with some of the guys from the team. Because T.O. made his way back into the league after that, and he came to a couple of our games because he's still friends with some of the guys on the team. So, got to meet a lot of Cowboys Hall of Famers, and Tim Brown was our general manager.
Oh, that's very cool.
Team. Yeah, Heisman Trophy and Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no doubt.
And got to meet, like I said, I hate the Cowboys, but got to meet Randy White. I mean, the Manster. I mean, as a Hall of Famer. Got to meet Drew Pearson. He was at a lot of our games too. So that's the pretty cool experience there. And while I was there in Texas,
yeah,
wrapped up my coaching career pretty much as a head coach at a small college there in Cincinnati called Ohio Midwestern. And, the team won like 3 games, 2 years. And then we ended up going 5 and 6, I think, our first year. And the school's no longer around. It's defunct now, but I've had fun. I love coaching football. It just takes a lot out of you, especially if you're not making the big dollars and you're sacrificing a lot of time with your family. And I definitely sacrificed way too much of that. That's a big regret, but it is what
people
it is.
People lived, and you got to chase your dreams, right? I mean, that's
what they say, but sometimes you end up losing a dream by chasing one. So
yeah. But the good news is, it's not like life is over, right?
Yeah.
So you get back.
Life is good now.
Right, everything's good now. So what side of Fanny's got a statement here. Says her son played semi-pro ball with the Ohio Crush.
Okay,
he was a cornerback. Fanny, if you could comment what years that he played that, and might
I
help
still
narrow it
followed.
down
I probably wouldn't know him or have coached against him, but I don't think I ever coached against the Crush. So
okay,
I think the early 2014 might have been my last year coaching. That was probably my last year coaching full time.
Yeah.
Like that.
What side of the ball were you most, or did you kind of move around?
I've been everywhere. I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none, but
but that should make for a good head coach, right? Because you got experience all over the place.
That's the thing. I've been a head coach. Special teams has always been in indoor football. I've always been the special team coordinator. I've been a defensive coordinator. I've been a D-line coach. I've been a DB's coach. I've been an O-line coach. I've coached everything but quarterbacks and receivers.
Gotcha.
Been a fullback linebackers coach my first year in arena football, where you coach both sides.
Yeah.
So it's I've coached like I said everywhere, but I mean position specifically was quarterbacks and receivers. Every position I've coached outside of that.
Well, you know what, man? It's really not the end. I mean, look at James Franklin. That's all he specialized in, and he fucking sucks. So
I don't know about that. Come on now, James Franklin's a pretty damn good coach.
Yeah, he does just enough to keep the boosters off his back.
That's one thing we do have in common. We're both like Penn State.
Yeah. That's one thing we have always had in common. I am not the biggest James Franklin fan. You know that. Look, I'm not saying he's a bad head coach. I'm just saying Penn State is never. We're always going to be no better than B+ as long as he's at the helm, right? Like that's kind of the ceiling there, and you can see it. Like if he couldn't get over the hump with McSorley and Barkley, when is it going to happen? And it's just not happening. I didn't have much faith in Sean Clifford, and then the offensive play calling was. It had me wanting to throw shit at the television, to be honest with you.
But made Will Levis transfer to Kentucky, so
right. Would have rather that kid slinging the ball around. That and I wouldn't have had to hear Gus Johnson every 5 seconds yell out the Cincinnati Kid. That would have been nice to not have to deal with, right? Like
I like Clifford though. I mean, I like my local guys,
Oh, I mean, and I can get with that. It's just
you remember John Schaefer, Moeller guy. Led Penn State to a national championship. I mean, he never made it in the NFL, but I mean, Hey, I mean, you win a national championship.
Natty's a natty. It's very true.
They heard
that. Keenan wants to know if you ever met Shane Falco. I tell you what, man, week in and week out, and we get the times of the year, and I say this almost every week. We get the times of the year where sports there's down periods, right? Like take right after the All-Star game for baseball. You've got that kind of like 3 days there where you get the All-Star game and then the day after where there's absolutely nothing going on. And I still have to come on here and do a show. And there's not any, I'm just reaching for content. It's a small niche group, but this room is always the best between Keenan, Russ, Lou Mancini, Fanny, Califoot when he comes in here and busts my balls about the Yankees all the time. They're all just really, really good people. So always
He's
very
talking about Shane Falco, though. He means Ed Rubert, just so you know. That's the guy.
That's
he was portraying the 1987 strike team for the Washington Redskins.
Right.
Ed Rubert was the quarterback he was talking about.
Yep.
And the guy that got released from prison in that movie, that's actually Tony Robinson. That's actually a true story. Tony Robinson was a quarterback out of Tennessee that was in prison and got work release to go play in the strike games.
In the as a scab, right?
Yeah.
I knew a lot of it was based loosely on some real stuff, but
yeah,
obviously very loosely. But so we got into the college conversation there. Let me jump right into that with you. So transfer portal, NIL money, all of this transfer portal stuff that happens right when the season ends before bowl season. Do you think, like, I hate it. If you're going to have it, I don't mind kids getting paid because I think the entire rest of the NCAA universe was making money off of them hand over fist for decades, and they were the only ones not getting paid. So I have no problem with the kids getting paid. My biggest problem is with that transfer portal. And I think if you're going to do it, we've got to start getting some regulations on it and on the NIL money too. Because right now it's just the Wild West. And I think it's ruining the game.
The thing is, if you remember, Eric Dickerson said when he was drafted to the Los Angeles Rams, he took a pay cut coming from SMU. Of course, SMU ended up getting the death penalty because of all that shit. And, Reggie Bush, all that trouble he got into for getting whatever he got, which is, what the NIL is like exploded now,
Yeah.
So, but it's just been going on forever. It's just now it's legal, but also in the same aspect, it's getting ridiculous. The millions of dollars these guys are getting where, they're in college. I'm all about them getting money to be able to make sure they don't have to work or, and if they do work, they're getting slotted, some money on the side.
Yeah.
Especially, and it's always the big schools it's the rich get richer, the poor get poorer.
And that's my biggest issue with it.
This is where there's never going to be ever a Cinderella team like UC again, making it again, because they're not going to have, in the Final Four, because they're not going to have the NIL money to be able to.
They can't compete. They don't have the pockets.
It's not ever going to happen again.
Nope.
So, it also forced the greatest college coach in history to retire because he's like, Saban's like, fuck this. I can't compete against these guys. Alabama don't have the money of Texas, all the oil money. Are you kidding me?
I think for Saban, it was a little more than that. The guy's 72 years old. So for the coaches, not only are you constantly like, I think the most difficult job as far as a football coach is your college coach. Because your roster is forever turning over. Now, it does at the pro level, too. I get that, but not like it does in college. Every year, you got guys graduating, you got guys going pro. So you're constantly always having to recruit. But now there's that other aspect where you now have to keep recruiting the guys that are already on your roster.
Exactly.
And I think that's killing these old guys.
Too.
Yeah.
It's insane.
These older dudes are just like, yo, I'm out, man. I don't have the energy for this shit anymore. It's too much.
You're going to start seeing some coaches dropping, like exhaustion.
You're right.
They're like, literally, there's not enough hours in the day. They already,
they already live it.
Do just to game plan alone on top of the recruiting process, on top of recruiting your players you got, on top of recruiting the players that you want to get, on top of recruiting the players that are in the transfer portal, on top of the JUCO guys, all that shit, like that's a lot.
That's a lot, dude. And that's just the normal shit, right? Now, I think the part that killed Saban was, dude, now I have to, he's like, I am the best college or arguably the best college coach ever, right? There's an argument.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm at Alabama, one of the most prestigious football programs in the college in the NCAA football history, and I have to contend with everyone else just to keep guys here who I've already recruited, who I've already sat and talked to their parents. Why? Because a quarterback can leave and go get $2 million for going to UCLA instead? I just don't think he wanted to deal with it, dude. I think he's like, I'm 72, man. I'm done. I've got 7 national championships, 6 at Alabama. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, the hell with this shit, dude. I don't have the energy for it no more.
He's just going to make too much Affleck commercials with Prime.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. The guy, look, anywhere he goes in Alabama or in the surrounding area, he ain't paying for a damn thing, dude. Walks in, sits down. LSU walks in, sits down.
Even though he left them, but he won him a national championship. So.
He won him a national championship, dude. Like, he's gonna get his. Yeah. So I
don't know about if he goes to Miami because of the Dolphins fiasco. But
no, if he's smart, he stays away from Miami. They're very bitter about that.
I know my daughter Cameron hates him.
Yeah, I mean, we have a good friend of ours, Lou Dominguez. He's from Miami, huge Miami everything, and anytime the two guys I had on with me last week, Lou and Chris, we have a group text, and we'll talk college football and coaches and shit. And the minute you bring up Nick Saban, I mean, he's like, you can feel the venom being spit through the phone. He's just angry about it.
I think we all have those head coaches for no matter what fan of what team you are.
Yeah.
There's always that one head coach where you're like, ugh!
Yeah. Like, I'd like to throw you off the Golden Gate Bridge, dude. Like, seriously.
Mine's David Shula.
Yeah. I've got a problem with
Miami.
I've got a problem with Chip Kelly. Was not the biggest fan there. I didn't like that he got handed the keys to the kingdom, just walking in the door from Oregon. And Lane Johnson said it best at the time. He's like, yeah, the guy is used to coaching 18 to 22-year-olds at this pace of offense. Now he's trying to bring that pace to professionals who are, a lot of them 27 to 33 years old and trying to run the same pace. Like, it doesn't work. You guys get gassed too freaking easy, too quick.
I mean, if you remember the Bengals sugar huddle offense that they ran, that they tried to outlaw, and then the Bills did that no huddle, hurry up stuff. I mean, it's nothing new that he done. I just haven't been done in a while.
The pace was outrageous, dude. I mean, we would run 6-8 plays in like 3.5 minutes, right, and move the ball 25 yards.
Yeah.
Well, the other problem I had with him was
move the ball. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, the other problem I had with him is he comes in talking all this skill position and he needs all this speed on offense. The first 2 things he does is get rid of our 2 most dynamic players, Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy. Like, where are you going to bring in DeMarco Murray to replace that and have him in a shotgun formation? It doesn't work in the NFL, dude. This is not college. I don't think he ever made that connection, dude. It just felt like he was out of touch with what the league actually is. He tried to just pick up Oregon and say, I'm going to drop this into the NFL. And dude, like, the windows are smaller. The defenses are way better. You can't just replicate.
You rarely see a college coach. I mean, outside of like Jimmy Johnson, they're very rare, far and few between, where you see a college coach come and be successful in the NFL.
It's true. That scared Nick Saban off quick.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm out.
I mean, I think I'm trying to think back. Like, I mean, Jim Harbaugh might have that chance this year.
Well, he's already proven that he can have success in the NFL.
He ran a pro-style offense in the NFL too. So
yeah, like I think that AFC West is. I think the AFC West is going to get a little interesting here, because for the next few years, Jim Harbaugh is going to have a leg up on a lot of the other coaches because the guys all coming into the draft now he likely recruited most of them or tried to recruit most of them. So he's going to have inside knowledge. He's going to be able to, what I'm trying to say, he's going to be able to get value later in the later rounds that some of these other folks are just not going to be as in tune with as he will.
Well, you've already seen he's signed Gus Edwards. He's probably going to sign J.K. Dobbins. You know, Jimmy's over there saying, "Yeah, we got King Henry, so take these guys. Trust me, they're still good." You know, right. And then the GM they hired was somebody that was working with Jimmy. You know, so or John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, yeah,
with John. You know, so those brothers, you want to talk about some collusion. I mean, they talk every day. So, they're helping each other out. You can already see it.
So Fanny's got one here. She says, look at the turnover Alabama is having now that Saban left. This transfer portal is a headache. Saban was a dynasty himself. I think that kind of goes in line with what we were talking about already. Oh, she's going to Chip Kelly, insert growl. Dave Connett, another good friend of mine. Pete Carroll, as much as I can't stand him. Yeah. Pete Carroll's one that did where we talk about not many guys go from college to the NFL and have success. But Pete Carroll, he's probably the most recent one.
Pete Carroll, though, was in the NFL and then went to college and then went back to the NFL.
Well, and let's be honest about why he came back to the NFL. He was about to be in deep shit at USC. So, and I think that's a big reason why Jimmy left Michigan too, because a lot of rumors about sanctions. He was losing 43 or 49 players on his roster to either graduation or the NFL
signs and all that jazz.
Yeah. So it'll be a tough go.
They're all doing it.
They are. It's just a matter of who's clean or not. It's just like Bountygate with the Saints. You trying to tell me the Saints are the only guys paying third string linebackers to go take somebody out? Give me a break, dude. Everyone does it. You just can't send emails about it and be a moron.
Right. Well, it don't matter. With this new hip drop outlaw, it might as well put fucking flags on these motherfuckers.
You may as well. Dude, could you imagine a guy like Saquon Barkley looking at that rule come across? With how much power he runs with, and you can't hip drop tackle him anymore?
Did you see that commercial or on that, what was it, Pet Detective, where Terry Crews was running and Jim Carrey runs up behind him and just has to put the chloroform on. I was like, that's going to be tackling Saquon this year. It's the only thing you can do.
It's the pussification of the sport. It's terrible. I can't stand it, man. And Dave Connett, him and I talk on a regular basis, and he's to the point now where he does not watch a whole lot of NFL football for that reason, because of all the rule changes that have just made it so weak, dude. Like you can't you remember if you were a slot receiver and you went over the middle, right? And your quarterback hung you out to dry, you would literally see that receiver go straight to that quarterback on the sideline and scream at him, "You're going to get me killed."
Yeah, I mean,
they don't have to worry about that anymore. You can't touch
Jack Tatum, Ronnie Lott, Steve Atwater, John Lynch. None of these motherfuckers would be in the Hall of Fame. These guys would be outlawed.
Dude, they'd put Brian Dawkins in jail.
Yeah.
Brian Dawkins would be in prison. Steve Atwater would be in prison.
Yeah.
Jack Tatum would be in prison for life.
Well, yeah. You can paralyze somebody on the field.
You just you just can't do that anymore. Yeah, here we go. Keenan Harmon, you can't hit him high. You can't hit him low. It's true. You can't hit him in. And then forget about it with the quarterback. You may as well just throw a red shirt on him and put flags on him.
They're going to put a square right here. This is where you can hit like a rectangle. If your shoulder pad or arm does not hit in this section, it's a flag.
So then you're going to get a guy like, say, Jordan Davis, who breaks through the line and steamrolls Kyler Murray, where his shoulder pad is literally the size of Kyler Murray's entire torso. Like, what do you do there? What's supposed to happen? Like, the ref has to blow the whistle before he even touches him because he's going to kill him.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand.
It's way out of hand, dude. I can't stand it. Drives me nuts.
It's not. Well, if you want to watch without those rules, tomorrow, United Football League kicks off.
United Football League kicks off tomorrow. Yeah. So who are you backing?
Closest team to here is the Birmingham Stallions, and the fact that they are the repeat. They were the champions last year.
They were the champs,
USFL.
Right. Yep.
But I also like the St. Louis Battlehawks because I got my boy AJ McCarron.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep. The St. Louis Battlehawks. I don't think I can actually back a team. I'm going to watch. I'm glad that the two leagues merged, to be honest with you.
I was hoping they would keep more teams and keep them in cities that aren't in the NFL, that don't have NFL teams.
Yeah.
Now, I can understand you still need to have like your DC, Dallas, your big cities for the TV market. But I do like the fact that Birmingham and Memphis and, I think there's 4 Birmingham, Memphis. Gosh dang it. What? See.
UFL, right? Yeah,
there was 4 cities that they should have put one in San Diego. That would make sense, right? To replace the Chargers. Took me, I don't know why.
I think the Chargers need to move back.
Yeah.
You've got all right, so 2 conferences, USFL conference and XFL conference, which makes sense. USFL conference is Birmingham, Houston, Memphis, and Michigan. And then the XFL conference is Arlington, which is basically Dallas.
Right.
DC, San Antonio, and St. Louis.
Yeah. So San Antonio, St. Louis, Birmingham, and
Memphis
are the 4 cities that don't. But Michigan is the only one that plays in an NFL stadium.
Are they playing in Ford Field?
Yeah.
In Detroit. Okay.
Houston plays in a small, and where University of Houston plays. And then DC plays in a smaller stadium, and Arlington obviously is not the Cowboys.
You're right, yeah. Jennifer Hatfield, this one of yours? Who dey?
Hey, Jen! Who dey, Jen?
Dave Connett. LA has never deserved a team. Worst football fans ever from an attendance standpoint. I believe he's got a point. LA is very much a Lakers and Dodgers town. The other problem you have is there's just a lot more shit to do in Los Angeles, right? Like when you get to that time of year, I don't. He's got a point, man. How much do they really? They obviously the Chargers basically play a whole schedule full of away games because SoFi just gets invaded by whoever they're playing against.
Well, the
Rams have something
in Anaheim. They did well when they were in Anaheim before they moved to St. Louis, but when they moved back, they actually moved back to Los Angeles.
The Rams.
Anaheim, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I give Anaheim their respect,
But as far as the Chargers go, the Chargers have no fan base in LA. None. And for a weak football fan base to begin with, USC is the number 1 football team out there.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's all that close. I think they enjoyed right. I think they enjoyed the run the Rams went on, winning the Super Bowl and stuff. It became kind of a thing, a popular thing to do. Obviously, SoFi Stadium, you see all the pictures and videos of it. It looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm sure it's a fun thing for your trendy locals to do out there. But I don't think they look at it totally from a fan standpoint. I think it's an event thing for them. Not like the Raiders where you had the black hole and you had all those maniacs in Oakland. You know what I mean? Which, David Cott. So just to let you know, I know you hate the 49ers, but my buddy Dave here is a Niners fan. So the Niners play 2 home games against the Rams every year, so I love it. Gets another home game if the freaking Chargers are on his schedule. All right. Let's get it back to the NFL here. So I think we all saw the news break late today. And we'll get to the Bengals too. But news breaking late today, Eagles trade Hassan Reddick to the Jets for a 2026 third-round pick, which is conditional, can turn to a second-round pick in 2026 if he plays 67.5% of the snaps and has at least 10 sacks this upcoming season. So basically, if he just does what he's done with us the last 2 years, that turns into a second-round pick. It's pretty much what it comes down to. Thoughts?
I mean, it's kind of like relaying that to, like I was telling you before we started, it's a salary dump. I mean,
Of course.
They signed Bryce Huff. They draft, like you said, they drafted Nolan Smith.
Yep.
You know, I suspect that they're probably going to use, you know, I told you, I did an Eagles mock draft as Chop Robinson that was even before knowing that Hassan Reddick was on the board.
We've been shopping him for a while. This can't be a surprise to anyone.
Right.
That's first and foremost.
He was scheduled. It was you told me it was. I thought it was 14 million, but you said it's 22 million cap hit.
His cap hit was 20, just under 22 million. His salary was 14, but his cap hit was just under 22. Yep.
And they're getting some draft capital out of it, and just like when the Bengals with Joe Mixon, I love Joe Mixon, but I mean, at least we got some kind of value out of it, and we get a running back that is, a little bit younger, a little bit, a little bit better in the pass protection, less wear and tear because he hasn't been a full-time starter, even though he's been one of those guys that's kind of been but yeah, the Hassan Reddick, it makes sense. I know Eagles fans, you want to keep you guys you got, but he's 30 years old. 30 is the years when things start to,
the scales
really
start to tip. And the Eagles have always been one of these teams that operate where they operate under it's better to get rid of them a year too early than a year too late.
Exactly.
Right? Yep. It was the same thing they did. They did this with Brian Dawkins, and you know how much I love Brian Dawkins, and it ripped my heart out.
And it's hard to do.
Sure enough, he goes to Denver and has a Pro Bowl year. But better a year too early than a year too late.
Right.
Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But I'd like to get back to the draft pick for a minute, because initially my reaction is, why the fuck 2026?
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it. So 2025 draft is on the heels of Aaron Rodgers' last season in New York. 2026 draft is the first draft after he's gone. So the chances are they're playing with a shit quarterback after Rodgers. And there's the possibility that draft pick has more stock. I got to believe that was Howie's thought in this whole thing.
I never thought of it that way. That's actually kind of genius.
Dude, just look at the moves that Howie makes. He's usually playing chess instead of checkers.
Yeah.
And so when you start thinking about it a little deeper, it's like, wait a minute. I started looking like, why 2026? Why? Because it was beating me up. I was mad about it. Like, why are we not getting this sooner? And I'm like, oh, shit. There's a chance the Jets have a really good year this year and then an awful year in 25 for the 26 draft. That pick becomes more valuable. And the other thing I think people need to understand is we just cleared another 20 million-ish in cap space. Just call it that, right? So we're sitting somewhere, I think we were just under 40 million clear. So now it's 50 something, 60 million clear. Don't be surprised if he flips that pick for somebody. All right. Because I think that pick actually does have value. Especially, you can almost mail it in that Hassan Reddick is going to have double-digit sacks. He's done it 4 years in a row. He's one of only 3 or 4 guys in the league that have done that to this point, like right now. It's like him, TJ Watt, and I forget the other 1 or 2 guys. To think he's not going to get
Trey Hendrickson.
to think
about my boy Trey.
To think he's not going to get double-digit sacks in a defense that's already pretty good. He's going to get sacks just based on the coverage alone. Your boy Sauce Gardner is over there. Guys don't throw his way, man. So now you got half the field cut off. Reddick does not need a whole lot of time to get to the quarterback. To think he's not going to get double digits as long as he stays healthy, you can almost mail it in. So that becomes a second-round pick in a draft where the year previous the Jets don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. So who's their quarterback? I got to believe that's the way he was looking at it. Otherwise, I'm like, why? Like, give me the pick now.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I think that if they were, because also the Jets don't want to give up anything that high in value right now because they're kind of all in with
All in
right now.
Exactly.
So they're like, we don't want to give up anything right now. And
yeah, they can't.
Next year too, just in case, we get that, like Rodgers gets us into the playoffs, but we just, might need that extra.
Yeah.
Little
No, I think it's the
that makes sense what you said though. That totally makes sense.
I mean, I'm Googling Jets and like, okay. And I'm like, well, how long is Rodgers there? And I looked, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just the one more year. And I put it up in our Facebook group. And then like a minute later, I'm just scrolling around. Like 8 other people posted the same exact thing I did. I'm like, all right, so I'm not alone on this. Like, I'm not reaching for straws here. I'm not alone. Of course, these are the same folks in message boards that I tell them they play Madden without the salary cap on half the time too. So take that with a grain of salt.
That's the same people that used to wear helmets on the bus.
Yeah, well, or wear helmets at the back porch and headbutt each other.
Windows.
Yeah, Mike and I have been known to do that. Fanny, it seems we traded him for pennies, but what did we actually get that benefits us now, not for future draft picks? So, Fanny, what benefits us now, and here's the other portion of it, and Brian, you tell me if you agree with me or not. What benefits us right now is saving more cap space. You guys that are freaking out about losing Reddick, you also have to understand that there has been a succession plan in place behind him. It's the reason why we drafted Nolan Smith. I'm not trying to say he's Hassan Reddick. I'm saying he's that mold, right? He's that edge rusher. They're the same build, same type of speed, same kind of, almost one-dimensional. We all know Hassan Reddick doesn't do well in pass coverage. Nolan Smith was drafted for this reason. What it allows us to do is save money because if you take a look at Jalen Hurts' contract, A.J. Brown's contract, having to pay Devontae Smith, and you better pay Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert is going to need to get paid. We have a lot of money that's going to have to come out on the offensive side coming up. And I understand the cap just went up $30 million this year and it's likely to go up again, but it's not enough to cover everything we're going to have to pay out. That's the benefit that we get right now. It should allow us to keep that nucleus together on the offensive side of the football while saving money with still decent talent on the defensive side. Hopefully get more balance defensively so we're not just all pass rush and a bunch of dog shit behind it. Brian?
Yeah, I agree. You still got to shore up your secondary big time. So there's still some good DBs out there that you can bring in and via free agency. Bringing back Gardner Johnson was a big, to replace Byard. But
yep.
There's still some good ones out there. Gilmore, I think, is still out there.
Gilmore signed. I forget
bad. Huh?
Gilmore signed. I think he went back to New England.
Did he?
I think
I didn't see that one. But I mean, there's still some good DBs out there.
Justin Simmons is still out there.
That's a stud.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's again like Byard. He's over 30, and his all-pro years might be behind him, but he's an upgrade. And here's the deal. So you got Gardner Johnson. If you bring in Simmons, and this is just a hypothetical, if you bring in Simmons, could you then slide Gardner Johnson down to nickel corner, where he's also, because that's what we signed him to do, was kind of be that hybrid. They even listed it when they signed him, his position, safety / nickel. He did that with us in 22. Some of that was because Avonte Maddox can't stay on the
I'm going to do that because of his aggressiveness. I would actually make sure he's on the bigger receiver.
Yeah.
Because he's a more physical safety.
So
the bigger receiver or the tight end in the nickel spot, I wouldn't put him on those skinny slot receivers where he's going to get toasted.
Yeah. My worry there is that you got Reed Blankenship, who I love. Okay. I love Reed Blankenship, but I'm not so sure he shouldn't put on 20 pounds of muscle and slide down the linebacker.
That is that's going to be a more common trend nowadays, is that these bigger safeties are going to be putting on a little bit more muscle, moving down the linebacker because everything's resulting around the pass game.
Everything.
So safeties, that's a good solid tackler. Just put on a few pounds and slide.
And that's what Reed is. Reed can hit. He hits well. And he likes to do it. He just, right now he's a little bit lighter and he can get knocked around. There we go. Eve. Who day, Brian?
Hey, Eve. I do got to give a shout out because I know I sent my Bengals peeps.
Yeah.
And my buddy Sean and a few other people I sent out, and I know that they're watching. So I just want to give them all a shout out.
For sure. Kelly Harmon.
Kelly.
There you go.
Wing Queen.
What else do we have here? Lou Mancini says, sorry. Doc was the biggest mistake ever. Yeah. When you look back on it, the fact that he went and had a Pro Bowl season his first year in Denver, it makes it sting even more. But I think we look at it as such a huge mistake because of what he meant to us emotionally, right? And what he meant to the captain of the team and everything. But that team was getting broken apart. And it was Doc wanted the bitch of it was that Doc wanted years, and it wasn't so concerned about the money, and they wouldn't give him the extra year. He wanted a 3-year contract. I think the Eagles offered him a 1 or 2 year deal. And so then Denver offered him 5, and the Eagles came up to 3. And by that point, he was like, "To hell with you! I'm going to Denver." Not that I blame him, but yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow, Lou, for sure. So I think that's where we're at with Reddick, right? Like, kind of agree there where it's a salary dump. It's going to save us money to be able to keep the offensive nucleus together. You signed Huff a lot for this reason as well, because you knew this was coming. Brandon Graham is still going to be there. Yes, he's in his farewell tour and he's been in the league for 13 years, but when you need a big play, BG still tends to come up there every now and again. He won't be able to be out there every down like he used to, but God love Brandon Graham. 50, that number better be hanging up at the link in some future years here. One thought on Kelsey. So did you watch his speech?
Yes. Very emotional.
I cried like every one of us Eagles fans did. I was a mess. Like, I didn't get to see it till I was on my ride home from work, so I was listening to it. Had it on YouTube, and like I'm stuck in traffic, I was looking down at it. Thank God for the most part, I was just listening and not watching, because that was brutal, dude. Watching that huge man get choked up like that every couple of minutes was really tough. Was really tough to watch.
And to see that, his transition from coming from Cleveland, walking on at UC, and just it's just amazing.
Transitioning to center from linebacker.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like, and the coaching that was involved, the coaching decision at UC was ingenious to move him there.
Oh yeah.
And then it just was pretty pretty amazing, especially, his whole story is just, and how can you not like, dude,
the guy could run for mayor of Philadelphia right now and win in a landslide. It's the truth.
I'm not a big Travis Kelce fan. I'm a huge Jason Kelce fan.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's a guy I want to have a beer with,
for sure, man.
One day. That would be.
I mean, you see him out at the tailgate in Buffalo. He's doing the shots on the bowling balls and stuff. And then you hear later that Kylie was like, he desperately wanted to go through a table. And she was like, "No, you're not doing that." He's up there. It's freezing cold. He's up there with his shirt off, screaming and yelling for his brother. I thought it was really cool, man. Jason's that guy, dude. He's like, if you can't root for Jason Kelce, there's something wrong with you. Travis, I can kind of get where people don't like him as much. He's a little cocky. He's a little out there. He's had some. Look, and he admits it in the Kelce documentary, he doesn't have a career without his brother, right? Because he got pinched at UC with the weed and got kicked off the team. And it was Jason that went to bat for him and got him reinstated. And, credit to the coaches at UC for turning his career around, too. He came in there as a quarterback, Travis.
Yeah.
They moved him to tight end. And he's only going to go down as likely the best tight end, at least pass catching wise, in the history of the league. I know Tony Gonzalez has a stake to claim, but when it's all said and done, this kid's going to end up with, he's already got more touchdowns. I mean, it's a little outrageous what he's been able to do.
Yeah. And, I just tired of seeing him on commercials.
The whole thing with Taylor Swift, and don't get me wrong, it annoyed me too that they kept cutting to her all the time. But to her credit, and this isn't a popular opinion amongst football fans, but I really don't care. To her credit, she has said absolutely nothing.
No,
right?
She hasn't done anything wrong.
Nothing. She's just there to support her dude. And I thought it was awesome when the camera would cut to her because there was all the thing. Oh, when the camera goes to her, everyone has to drink. She sees the camera goes on her and she picks up her drink and starts pounding it. I enjoyed it.
Though, Adam, no one complained when they were showing Spike Lee courtside at the Knicks every fucking game.
I own that.
Jack Nicholson at the LA Lakers games.
Or Jessica Simpson when she was.
They're having a problem with it. So grow up, boys.
Jessica Simpson when she was dating Tony Romo, there wasn't a big problem there.
No.
Right? Like, come on. You gotta be fair. You can't just pick and choose. You're gonna have a problem with it, but be consistent. Right? That's kind of where I go with it. All right. What did we have here? All right, so the draft, dude. Let's get down to it here. So I had previously been very much on board with taking a corner with that 22nd pick. I love the idea of Jaquinski, Kool-Aid, McKinstry. I mean, even if you just look at it from a marketability
He'll be there
standpoint,
at 20. He should be. I don't see him going before 22.
He may not.
That's for sure.
And we do need help in the secondary. We all know it. But now that Kelsey's retired, Fletcher Cox retired, Brandon Graham's in his final year, Reddick gets traded, and the fact that Howie does like to build from the trenches outward, I starting to think that 22nd pick is you might almost want to lock it in that we're going O-line or D-line. So if I'm and I'm going trenches. I know you talk Chop Robinson. You know that's good. I mean, you're not going to break my heart. But who else might be sitting there that might be worth the shot on either side of the ball?
If you replace Kelsey, then that Jackson Powers, that center from Oregon, he's probably your best interior. He's definitely the best interior offensive lineman.
But is he going to be sitting there at 22? Is the problem?
He'll be there at 22. No one. I mean. It's the tackles that are going to go.
The tackles always go first. You got to protect the blind side.
Yeah. Although the guards and center made some major money this year in free agency, but if you're going to replace Kelsey, that's the guy to go with.
Well, the other issue with that is just like we talked about with Reddick, where Nolan Smith was drafted to replace, Huff was brought in to replace. On the other side, Kelsey gave his personal endorsement and was grooming Cam Jurgens to take that role. Now, I know Nick Sirianni has since said, I'm not committed to anyone.
Was to move Jurgens in. Yeah.
Jurgens to move to center. And then, the hope is that Tyler Steen steps up into that guard spot. Nick Sirianni has since come out and said he's not like 100% committed to that. Of course, I think he's just saying what he has to say at this point to, so that the guys don't get deflated. And, it looks like a competition at least. But that's been the succession plan. Well, so if I'm not going center,
you know what Howie's logic is: take the best Georgia player available.
No, fuck. Yeah. I mean, and I knew you were going to go there too, man. I freaking knew it was coming. These guys in the room, they all know. I don't know if I've said it to you, but look, I am happy. I want to see my team, at least in the first few rounds, draft players from the SEC, from the Big Ten, guys that are playing big boy college football, right? However, when you take too many guys from one collegiate program on one side of the ball, you are eventually going to find the one or two that were more a product of scheme and other players around them than they were actually being as talented as they're being touted to be. And unfortunately for us, I think that's Nakobe Dean. I like the kid. I just, when I see him on the field, and let's be honest, it's been limited because he's hurt all the time, he looks undersized and a step too slow at the position.
Well, I think I remember talking to you about that about him. You were like, you were kind of excited about getting him later.
I was.
And I was like,
you're like, hey.
They're healthy, dude. I don't know.
Well, I was excited about getting him because he was touted as first-round talent. We got him in the third. Yeah. I didn't think Howie was going to hinge the entire position group on the kid, which is exactly what he did last year.
Yeah.
I thought that was a giant mistake. But, I knew you were going to go there with the damn Georgia shit.
Come on, man.
Every year with the Georgia
writing's
shit.
On the wall.
You got to spread it around. You can't just keep going back to the same well all the time. But that's what these guys were drafted for, man. I did not like hinging the whole group on the Kobe Dean last year. The linebacker group was completely ignored last season, completely. And then sure enough, Dean looks small and slow at the spot, and he gets hurt. And then what? Now we've got Morrow, Cunningham. You bring in Shaq Leonard, who, don't get me wrong, each one of them had their moments, but overall, the middle of the field was a gigantic problem for this defense last season. Huge issue. So now you bring in Devin White. I like it. All right.
Matt, come here, Matt. Come here, Matt.
Oh, God. Yeah, come on. Matt. I got a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan.
Tampa Bay Bucs fans has got something to say about that one.
Yeah, come on in.
I'm gonna bring Matt in. He is a Devin White hater. So here we go.
God. Yeah, tell me why I should hate Devin White, because I like the pick. I like the pickup.
By the way.
First of all, let's have a Green Legion radio welcome to Brian's friend Matt here. Matt is down in Tampa Bay with him. He's a Buccaneers fan. He's going to tell us why the Devin White pickup is not what we're hoping it's going to be. Fire away, brother.
Well, it's not that hard to see. He had his best season right there. He was a key piece to that Super Bowl on defense, but he tailed off. The rest of his contract, and he wanted, what was that guy's name? The guy, Chicago,
Raekwon.
Yeah, he wanted he wanted Roquan money, and he pulled up 2 years early in his contract to demand it, and didn't work out.
Nope.
I agree. He doesn't look too good now, so I don't know. Hopefully somebody over there can salvage him, because he came out hot from college. I mean, he was, he got a captaincy as a rookie, or the year after, but he tailed off all the years he was here. So hopefully somebody can speak to him there, because he does have the talent. He's prototypical. He had everything. That's why we took him high. But I don't know.
He also only played 13. He only started 13 games last year, played in only 14. So injury was obviously an issue.
Right. And some of what he said, he was really bad, in the press locally here.
Yeah.
And so
that's the shit that us as Philadelphia fans are not going to know. This is the kind of information I want my audience to have.
Yeah. Locally, he said a lot of the wrong things, but like I said, if he can get his head straight, who knows? I mean, he never really endeared himself after the rookie season. He was very distant, not a guy that, I'm not going to say he was a bad guy. He definitely wasn't bad in the community, but never went out of his way. Especially when you got guys like,
Levante David.
Right. Levante, Shaq Barrett, who, was really good and then had a tragedy here. And, even though we knew he wasn't going to stay, the community wrapped their arms around Shaq Barrett. And, he was a bit of an anomaly. Like he just never got figured out here. That's
Yeah.
And so, if he can get a change of scenery and flourish, great. Good.
Well, and the good thing for us with the contract, it's a 1 year up to $7.5 million. So it's a mercenary contract, is basically what it is. It's a 1 year prove it deal.
Right.
And the Eagles over the years, and Brian can attest to this, we've taken shots on guys like this before, right? Guys who, maybe didn't have the cleanest image where they were, showed potential, need to get out of there. So Devin White kind of fits that mold, and he can fill a need for us. I mean, he had that big rookie year, 91 tackles. He returns two fumbles for touchdowns.
Right.
But I would think his best statistical season was actually the following year. He had 140 tackles and 9 sacks.
Right.
He follows that out with 128 and 3.5 sacks. And then the 2022 season where he's 124 tackles, 5.5 sacks. Then last year, a down year, only 83 tackles and 2.5 sacks. So, and that was, 14 games out of 17 played. So
you can't complain what y'all did. I mean, he's young. He's still young. I mean, he's, coming.
Yeah, he's a kid.
And you took a flyer on him. I mean, you're not going to lose, No,
he's 26 years old.
Right.
So, and it's a 1 year contract.
Right. I mean, Baker did the same when he came here. I mean, we weren't married to him. We took a prove it deal, and he bet on himself and won. Hopefully Devin, realizes that he's at a turning point. He's not what he was visually.
A couple years ago. Yep.
Yeah. Well, no, he's still there. I mean, athletically, he's amazing.
I would hope so at 26.
He didn't have a lot of the pump coming in, the pub, the press.
Well, so here's the other thing about Philly.
And hopefully he can dig down and build it back. I mean, we just didn't we never got to know him here, That's the whole thing.
Here's the other thing about Philly. And so we don't know about Devin, and you're giving us that information about how he behaved down there. Philadelphia Eagles as an organization aren't going to tolerate that. And you've got guys in the locker room like a Brandon Graham who are going to pull him aside and be like, yo, dude, this is not how we do things here.
Get that bread out of the oven.
The other thing you have is a city in Philadelphia that will not deal with it either.
Oven.
The accountability will be there in a more harsh form where he's at now. Then, let's be honest, Tampa Bay's more laid back, dude. The fan base isn't as ravenous. The ownership group, while they've done a good job, they're not
there, man.
Yeah. While the ownership group has done a good job down there, they're not the Eagles ownership group. They're not the same culture, right? No. So that's and again, 1 year, and it's up to $7.5 million. If he doesn't hit all of his incentive lines, he doesn't even get that.
Right.
So it's a really low risk, high reward thing for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A guy who's still physically in his prime, you got to try it out. I mean, there's no downside to it, really.
Not for us. Not at that price. Not at that price point. There's no downside for us on that.
So,
which has its yin and yang. We had plenty of cap space. And I'm like, where's my big linebacker? Because we stunk in the middle of the field last year. Why am I not getting Frankie Lavu? Right. Why am I not? Who was the other guy that was coming? Why am I not going after Patrick Queen?
Right.
Where is my big signing? And then everybody kind of got signed. I'm like, where's my linebacker? They bring in Devin White, and I'm like, okay, I kind of get it, but you do have to save money somewhere. But
it's not going to be for lack of physical traits. If they put him in the right situation, which I think y'all should, because, we like your defense. They beat us back in the, they got Tony Dungy fired. So,
Yeah, well, you guys shut down my stadium. So
yeah, we shut down the old one, and we shut down the new one too after that.
Yeah. I was actually there this past season on Rondé Barber night when we pissed all over his parade. Yeah. That was great.
So
that was a little.
If he, look, if he can take some orders I think you guys going to be all right with him. If he's got it within himself to, have a little self-awareness and
get humble,
figure out that his career is kind of hinging on this a little bit, I think you guys are going to be all right. I mean, he when he has nothing on him, I mean, think about it. When he was a rookie, he was just coming out,
Yeah.
Maybe some pressure got to him. I don't know. Who knows? But when he had no expectation, he played free. He was great. He was really good. So
and he had all that early success. So when you're a rookie linebacker and you account for 91 tackles and you return 2 fumbles for touchdowns, that's a lot really, really quick.
And he got
it. Sounds like maybe it went to his head a little bit. Is that what we're?
No, I don't know. Maybe he just thinks that it was always going to be that way.
Yeah.
I mean, he played. Who comes out of college and plays with Tom Brady? I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, Jalen's no slouch. I mean, if Jalen is half Tom Brady in the locker room, which we all know he is, I mean, maybe he can get this guy jumped up, and
that's what I mean about the leader.
And engaged. He was really engaged.
There's a group in that locker room from your Brandon Graham, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. I mean, we lose a lot of that leadership with Kelsey and Fletch Cox going out the door.
Right.
But BG's still there. Obviously, Jalen is the leader of the team. AJ Brown has taken on some form of that leadership role as well. He's got to have a good support group there. And the culture that's in that locker room is very much a core value type of shit. Nick Sirianni preaches that, the core values. I wish he would put a little bit more emphasis on holding people accountable, which he did not do last year.
And that was a little bit of his problem, was his accountability. Here,
well, it's different in Philly now. You got Vic Fangio's the defensive coordinator now too. He's not going to play any bullshit.
Right. A couple of the local sports honks here got him. Tom Krasnicki got him, and who's the guy for the Times? Rick Stroud, I think. Rick Stroud got him. Yeah, that might have been something for him. I don't know. He just never kind of found his way here.
Right.
I think that first year, maybe he thought it was always going to be like that. I don't know.
And sometimes it doesn't work out. Right. I use the comparison, and not to use another Philadelphia.
Maybe been a bad marriage. I don't know.
Not to use the Philadelphia theme here, but I'm going to use it anyways. When you look at the Phillies, right? Look, when Bryce Harper was becoming a free agent, I'm a New York Yankees fan. I did not want the Yankees to go anywhere near him. I thought he was a prima donna. He had that very arrogant kind of, and whether it was right or wrong, that was the image he was giving off to everyone when he was in Washington. I think there are times when guys, even when they have that kind of image, they end up in the exact right spot where they're supposed to be.
Right.
And I think you don't need to look any further than Bryce Harper in Philadelphia with the Phillies to see that.
Yeah.
He that's where he belongs. He was born to play for that team in that city with that ravenous fan base. It fits. The intensity he brings on the field fits the crowd, and they all feed off of it. It's like he left Washington and his whole image changed.
Right.
So some guys just end up in the right spot, and hopefully that happens with Devin White. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It costs us $6 or $8 million.
Coaching has a big play in that, because the thing is like the first 2 years he was under Bruce Arians, and then he's under Todd Bowles his final 2 years.
Yep.
I mean, the coaching styles are way different. You can see it tailed off with Bowles as a defensive coordinator, how things tailed off. He was the D coordinator, now he's the head coach, versus Bruce holding his toes to the fire, I think.
Right.
Where Bruce is probably going to be – Sirianni's going to have to be that guy.
No, it'll be Fangio, dude. It'll be
Fangio is not going to put up with no fucking bullshit.
Right. And he shouldn't. Anybody that thinks Nick Sirianni is still running that team right now, I got some magic beans to sell you too.
Got a bridge in Brooklyn for you, man.
Well, he's
Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio, 2 new coordinators.
Right.
Yeah, Kellen Moore is running the offense, and Vic Fangio is running the defense. They're not reporting to Nick Sirianni.
Well, it's not going to be whatever happens there. It's not going to be because of physical talent. The kid's a freak. I mean, he was fast, strong.
Big career at LSU.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not going to be physical. It's not because he doesn't. It's just, and he was very instinctive his whatever you want to call it here in Tampa, his freshman year. He was always in the right place. He knows how to be around the ball. Who knows? I mean, what went south? I don't know.
Look, it can't get. Here's the thing. Like I said, it's low risk, high reward for us.
Right.
And he can't be any worse than what the slop we had at linebacker last year. He can't.
He can't. I mean, was his year last year better than that?
Yeah, our linebacker core was pretty brutal last year, man.
All right.
Well, I mean, we were the middle of the field was a disaster for us.
Yeah.
Here's my boy David Conn. Of course, I bring up Bryce Harper. Phillies fans fed right off those 3 strikeouts he had today. Way to ingratiate yourself to my freaking crowd here, Dave. So,
all right. Hey, man. Thank you for letting me on.
No, man. Thanks for coming in and giving us that. That's the type of stuff that we don't know about Devin White. And thank you for coming on and giving us that info, bro.
Tampa Bay Bucks insider, Matt.
Ignore my bitterness, because he kind of let us down a little bit, but tools. He's got all the things. Hopefully, somebody can speak to him and catch his mind and get him where he needs to be.
Well, hopefully it's Fangio.
Yeah,
season's coming up.
If you can't do it for him, where are you going to do it? Right.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate it. Man. All right, Brian, I got one thing left for you here, and then we're going to call it a night.
All right.
So, the Birds come here to Cincinnati this year. It happens once every 8 years. You're well aware of how the league rotates schedules. So, first question is, any chance you're going to be in town for that, depending on when it is?
Depends on when it is.
Okay. So what weekends?
You always come in at the end of September for all the birthdays.
Right.
So that's a given. So if it's Halloween weekend, that's out because I always have the big Halloween jamboree here.
Gotcha.
So
okay. The next thing is, tell me why I should be worried about your Bengals this year, aside from Joe Burrow, obviously. But,
well, that's a big if. Hey, Matt, there's more garlic bread in the oven right now. Yeah.
Tell me why.
Matt burned the garlic bread, dude.
Oh, don't burn the garlic bread, dude.
Yeah, so I put some fresh garlic bread in the oven.
So tell me why the Bengals are going to bounce back, and what are your Bengals looking at in the draft? Because I'm pretty confident I know where the Eagles are going. Trenches. You might be dead on accurate with that Chop Robinson call, dude. I mean, if he's sitting there at 22, it'd be hard not to take him.
That mock draft I sent you.
Yeah, man, I like it. Dude. And I like that Milton pick late, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's like Green Bay Packer mentality. Like, even like when I do mock drafts for the Bengals, I'm picking somebody late because, and I'm constantly picking Sam Hartman for the Bengals, like in the 7th round. So, but because you got to get somebody that kind of matches the skill set of your starter. You know what I'm saying? So that if he steps in, you don't have to change your offense all around.
Exactly. Yep.
But Bengals, signing Trent Brown was
huge.
The man is huge. We now have probably the biggest set of tackles in the NFL.
I don't know. I got Jordan Mailata. 6'9", 360 pounds, dude.
But your other tackle is not nearly as big.
Lane Johnson, 6'5", 330.
6'8", 6'8".
That's a big people.
340 and 368.
That's a lot of beef, dude.
The Brown brothers. What can Brown do for you? We're like,
right. I really thought that Orlando Brown
UPS right now.
Right? I really thought that Orlando Brown signing was going to do more for your offensive line last year. I mean, we talked about that when you were up here.
He did.
And it didn't happen.
It was better, but because we had to move Jonah and Jonah crying about, I don't want to go to right tackle. And I'm like, bitch, you were doing shit at left tackle.
So I guess now, and you tell me if I'm wrong. So now you bring in another big tackle. So now your bookends are there. You got these two huge sides of beef out there.
Yeah.
That are going to protect Joe's front and backside. So if he's still getting pressure from the outside, whose fault does it really fall on now?
Pollock.
Oh, how many more people are you guys going to push blame on before you just say Burrow holds the ball too fucking long?
He doesn't.
Oh, come on.
He just needs to. He needs to. Here's what Joe Burrow needs to do a little bit more, and he's been tending to do that, and probably told not to do it. My thinking is coaching wise, they're telling him, no, Joe, don't go start running around. Just take the sack. Just lay it down. Don't get hurt. Don't let him. They're not letting him. But, I mean, he has not proven he can stay healthy. So, true. Come on. I mean, if the guy can stay healthy, I mean.
Well, let's not hold the appendicitis against him. That's different. No, right? You got to throw that one out.
It's still kept him out of camp. It's still prevented shit. Yeah,
but that's not a football related.
It doesn't matter. It's body issues. The
right,
greatest.
I get it.
The greatest ability in the NFL is
your availability.
Yeah,
I agree.
You know that for a fact.
Yep.
And I think Jake Browning stepped in and did a pretty damn good job.
I think T. Higgins bailed him out a lot.
Well, yeah, T. Higgins started off,
I mean, geez, dude.
This year. And that's another issue we got, right? And, we franchised him, but.
Well, you had to. What else were you going to do?
Yeah, we had to franchise him. But what I'm saying is, now he wants a trade request and all that bullshit,
I hated the Bengals with Andy Dalton. Because I never liked Andy Dalton. I thought he was wildly overrated. I thought he was Big Red Romo, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And his playoff career.
He's the Tony Romo. Yeah. He's the red rifle version of Tony Romo.
Yeah. He's the beige water pistol.
Yeah.
Got it. Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, same mold, right? They can't get it done when the lights shine the brightest. Burrow is not that guy. And Burrow is a guy you can root for. Okay?
Burrow's a killer, dude.
Burrow's got a killer instinct.
He's got cold. He's got ice running through his veins. He's got that killer mentality.
Yes.
He's like, give me the fucking ball. I'm putting in this.
A local kid. He's from Athens. I mean, I know it's not right around the corner, but it's not that far away, right? I mean,
you got to be pretty tough have a pretty tough mentality to live in Ohio. You're dealing with, especially dealing with all 4 seasons in 1 week.
You know what, man? And I say that it happens everywhere. It doesn't happen in Tampa, obviously, but a lot of I guess I got my buddies in Connecticut, Philadelphia, everywhere. Everywhere kind of north of the kind of that halfway line in the country. Everyone says the same thing. No, if you want to, you want the weather to change, just wait 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's here, it's Connecticut, it's Philly, it's everywhere. But okay, so. Where are the Bengals looking in the draft? Where's your holes? I mean, I think you have to at least be looking at wide receiver, right?
If they take a wide receiver in the first round, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
Who's going to take the bait on that Texas kid that ran the 40? Somebody's going to take the bait and get disappointed.
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs. You know what? They might not get disappointed. Because I believe Patrick Mahomes. I believe Patrick Mahomes.
Right there, the Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes or Patrick Kelsey has already has already been chatting with Xavier Worthy about, hey, bro,
he's like, you can't outrun my arm.
2.0.
Right? Yeah, you know what, man? That might actually be scary. I think if he doesn't go somewhere with a quarterback with a huge arm like a Mahomes or like a Josh Allen.
Eagles, take him at 22 so we don't have to worry about him. Take Xavier Worthy with your number 1 pick.
No, we've had enough of the Jalen Rager type picks here. We're good, dude. Okay, that's enough. That's enough out of you.
Yeah, you guys should. Outside of Devontae Smith, you've never drafted a good receiver.
Never. We stink at it.
Mike
Devontae was.
I take that back. Mike Quick was pretty damn good.
Devontae's a damn good. If you want my opinion, he doesn't have the size of AJ Brown. AJ Brown just outmuscle you for the ball.
Yeah,
but
he was
every other talent that you need as a wide receiver, I think AJ Brown is the best on the roster, dude. He runs great routes. He's got great speed. He's got great hands.
But
the way he contorts. Who's that?
You didn't draft him.
Yes, we did. We traded the pick and then drafted him.
Yeah. AJ Brown.
No, not AJ Brown. Devontae Smith. I'm talking about Devontae Smith.
Oh, I thought you were talking about AJ Brown. I was like,
no. What I said was I understand AJ's got that big physical size that can just outmuscle you.
Yeah.
But Devontae, from a skill set standpoint, I think is the most talented wide receiver on my roster.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a smaller version of Chase and Jefferson.
Yeah, he doesn't have the size, right? He's 160 pounds soaking wet with rocks in his pockets.
He's more like a Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
But
the route running, the hands, the way he's able to contort his body and the field awareness to keep his feet in bounds, get up, make the catch, not take the big hit because he knows he can't or he'll get killed, right? He just always seems to kind of just shield away from that. The guy's incredibly talented. And I'll tell you right now, I was pissed when we drafted him. Please don't tell me we're going to take a 160-pound Heisman Trophy winner for it to be my number one wide receiver. And I was wrong. 1,000% wrong. I can come on here and talk all day. Sometimes I'm right. You eat shit on that one, dude.
You're starting to sound like Colin Cowherd now.
Dude, but you got to admit it, man.
Right, but Cullen was wrong.
You got to admit it when you're wrong, though, dude. You can't just come on here and be like,
exactly.
Otherwise, you ain't worth the shit.
Going up.
So, all right, where are the Bengals going? So, first round, you're drafting. Not to mention the fact you got a weaker schedule this year, really weak schedule. Outside of your division, who do you play? So, in our division, Dallas and Philly, right? You get us here. I think you have to go to Dallas. That's not pleasant. But you do get the Eagles here, which plays to your benefit. Washington and New York are still a dumpster fire. The rest of your schedule outside of your own division is pretty light because you finished in last place. So Bengals are picking. Bengals got a nice pick. Where are you going?
At 18? Yeah. We're going best available.
Best available at position of need or just best available?
Just the best of it. At this point, I think we're in a position with what we've done in free agency where we can just take the best available player, period. Like, it doesn't matter if it's offensive line. I would not use my number one pick at receiver, though, because I'm still thinking long-term.
It's a deep draft at receiver, dude. You can get value later.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like, I'm thinking offensive tackle because we only signed Trent Brown to a 1-year deal. So if we got, somebody like J.C. Latham or, the Penn State tackle slides for some fucking reason, obviously we jump all over. If Brock Bowers slides to us, I am sprinting to I'm sprinting there, even though we signed. But Gesicki is a 1-year deal. Hudson was a nice.
I like the Gesicki signing because it's Brock a 1-year proof
game changer. He could having somebody like Brock Bowers. I'm running as fast as I can up to deliver that card by far.
So, would you entertain trading up to get Bowers if he started to slide?
No.
So you're sitting at 18.
I'm not giving up capital for that.
No. Would you trade T. Higgins?
I'd rather have depth. Good depth.
I'd rather have depth. I like the Gesicki signing because it's just like the Devin White thing for us. It's a low risk, high reward. Prove it.
Right.
And I like Gesicki. So,
I do. I'm a big fan of Gesicki.
Yeah, I think he can get it done. And now he's going to have Higgins on. He's going to be playing with Higgins and Chase.
Yeah,
he's going to have opportunity. For sure, especially in the red zone.
Charlie Jones and Yoshi are, our two rookies from last year that we drafted. they really showed something late, and I wouldn't be hateful if I had T and Yoshi and Charlie as my full wide receiver set.
Yeah,
I would not be mad about that at all.
You upset about losing Boyd?
I mean, I love Boyd, but Boyd had a bad year this year. He had a lot of drops.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Boyd.
His time here was done.
But, yeah, I mean,
it was over.
I
mean,
love him to death.
Yeah.
Boyd.
All right. So, one last question about the Bengals. Does Joe Burrow stay on the field the whole year? Do you get 17 games out of him? Because that's the key to everything. If Burrow goes down, he's just like us. You gave your quarterback the big contract. If he goes down,
you just don't know, man. I mean, right now it's like I want to say hell yeah, but
well, okay, let me change it. So the last 2 years, it's been coming out of the gate, right? He had the appendicitis 2 years ago, kept him out of training camp, got a slow start. Last year was the calf. Let me rephrase it. Do you think you start the year at full strength?
No, because that wrist injury, like when he was went to that, I think it was either the USC fight or was it the Phoenix Suns game? He still had a brace on his wrist recently, and that is concerning to me.
Yeah.
Granted, it could be preventative or whatever, but that still doesn't seem like
he's not all the way back.
Yeah, it doesn't give me, gives me false hope.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean,
got it. Well, dude, you got any final thoughts? I'm going to wrap it up here. We've been in here for almost an hour and a half.
You said you wanted to talk about linebackers, so you're Jeremiah.
Yeah. So what? Okay. So yeah, I forgot about that. So we did sign Devin White, and that's where I was going with Devin White.
Yeah, but you still need somebody to go with him.
We need somebody to go with him, or some more, at least something. So
I mean,
we're not going to take a linebacker first round unless it's Chop, and he's an edge guy.
Yeah, but you're talking about interior linebacker.
I'm talking about interior linebacker, somebody to help in the middle of the field. It's not a deep draft at that position. Brian, where are my Philadelphia Eagles getting value for a third-round pick or a second-round pick or a fourth-round pick at that position?
If you're going to get value at second round or third round, I mean, second round, Trotter's probably going to be the first one off the board most likely.
And that's what every Philadelphia Eagles fan is clamoring for because of the name.
Yeah, but he's not his dad. He's
not.
Because we talked about that. There's a lot of NFL players right now in this draft that are
Green Legion Radio audience. Listen to Brian right now. All you folks clamoring for Trotter Jr., please listen to what he's saying right now. Go ahead.
Jeremiah Trotter was special. He's not his dad. It's like saying Deion Sanders Jr. is Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders Jr. never played in the NFL. Not saying that Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is a drastic fall off from where he's going to be a bum. I mean, He can still be he's just not worth going first or second round type linebacker. If you want to get some value and you want to go third or fourth round, Peyton Wilson from NC State might be fourth round, maybe, but he's climbing up draft boards, but if he's someone to look out for, if you want to spend a third round pick, but value late is, he's a liability in the passing game, but he's a thumper. Tommy Eichenberg from Ohio State, and then Curtis Jacobs from Penn State. Two guys that you can get in the fourth, fifth, sixth round, and they'll definitely help you out on special teams, help you out in the run game. Yep. And once they catch up to speed, maybe starters down the line, but definitely will be able to contribute in certain areas.
And that's what we need to find, because we do like to build from the trenches outward. So that first round pick is feeling more and more like trench. Second round, I don't know if you're going corner or something like that. Maybe it's wide receiver. But we signed Devontae Parker. He's another 1 year. It's like a $4 million contract, but we're only on the hook for like 1.2 of it. The Patriots are picking up the rest. He's 6'3", 215, dude. It gives me another red zone target.
Yeah, I don't think you need to go high for a run receiver.
We don't. I mean, we've got Brown and Smith.
We
don't need to do that.
And then, like I told you, in the 4th or 5th rounds for the Eagles, I would definitely look to pick up an extra running back because like I told you,
not a deep draft at running back, but we have no depth there right now. If Saquon goes down, it's Kenny Gainwell, and he's 5'8".
Right, and you can get somebody of value. Like, remember, I did like Autry from Notre Dame.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be there. There's some good running backs they're going to be available in like the 4th round, 5th round. And I would definitely look into, like I said, Joe Milton, big arm, sit under for a couple of years. Let him learn. I mean, the guy's got you can't teach the talent that he has.
Well, if you get him in the 5th round, you don't have to pay him either, right? You're not making shit.
Joe Milton's probably going to last till at least the 6th round.
There you go. Even better.
I mean,
get him late like that, you're not paying him a damn thing.
Right.
Like right now, our backups are Tanner McKee and who's the Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, with his tiny hands. It's like that's not what I want to hear.
The thing is, you can draft Milton and then just put him on the practice squad for the year. Yeah,
you could do that too. Yep. I like McKee. He doesn't fit the scrambling type of the offense. He's a huge individual. 6'5", 6'6". He's got a big arm. And he works hard. But if you want a guy like we were talking about before, you want a guy that fits your offense.
Right.
So you don't have to, that was the biggest problem with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Minshew can be a good backup. He's not a good backup in an RPO fucking offense. He's just not. The guy can't move. It's like you or me out there trying to run around with these people. They can run in quicksand. So you got to get somebody that can move around. Kenny Pickett, I don't know. I think they brought Pickett in to push Tanner McKee a little bit because before that it was just Jalen and Tanner. So I mean, you got to bring in some other guys.
That move surprised me a lot. To be honest with
you. I mean, again, we didn't give up shit for it. It's like a couple 7th round picks, and we swapped the 3rd for a 4th. And he's only costing us $1 million on the payroll, so it's kind of But I don't know. And maybe now you get some capital back with trading Reddick, which I'm still not going to be surprised if Howie flips that for something here.
Sorry, my dog Obi is like at my feet and rubbing.
That's all right. We can wrap it up, brother. We've been at it for an hour and a half here, We've been at it for an hour and a half here, dude. So we can go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah. If you ever want to have me back on again, I'll be happy to join you again. I think it went really smooth. Great conversation throughout the time, and might be able to convince some other people to join us in the near future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I do Friday nights. I don't know what you're doing the Friday night after the opening round of the draft, but that might be a target area for some fun.
Oh, after the draft? Yeah. Because during the draft, I'll be in Mexico.
Yeah, no, you're fine. But that Friday night after that Friday, so you'll still be okay. So you're talking the week after. Gotcha.
I'll be the Friday night of when the draft starts. I'll be in Mexico.
So the draft starts on Thursday.
I'll be in Mexico.
I'll be in Mexico, and you'll be in Mexico on Friday too. So
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Let's keep in touch and let's get something. Maybe it's in May after the schedule release when we find out when the Birds and Bengals are actually going to play, and we can start talking shit.
Start planning our trip,
right, or your trip. But yeah, guys, everybody in the room: Califoot, Connett, Lou Mancini, Keenan Harmon, all of Brian's, the Brian's friends that came and joined in. Fanny, thank you guys for joining. We've been consistent about 100 to 110 people viewing, all at once, kind of in and out, up and down. Not everybody comments. Some people just like to sit and watch, listen, and they get a little nervous about commenting. So for everybody who's been in the room, for everybody who's been commenting in the room and everybody who decided not to, let's give a big thank you from the Green Legion Radio audience here for Coach Brian Wells. Brian, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it, dude. Thanks for giving me your time.
Good talking to you, man. Good seeing you.
You too, brother. Take care, man. We'll see. We'll set something up. See you down the road.
Sorry, buddy. See ya.
Yeah. All right, folks. That was my friend Brian. Good dude. Great football guy. Great football mind. We're going to get him back on hopefully after the schedule release. You know, he's got to spend some time in Mexico because he's Mr. Fancy Pants. So I can see him down here laughing. Guys, girls, thank you guys. Thank you all for joining. This has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. Thank you, as always, for joining. Come back and join us again next week. Probably get back to a little bit more baseball talk, but we'll always mix it up with some football. Until then, folks, be safe. Enjoy your weekend. Baseball's back on track. The Sweet 16 and Elite 8 happens this weekend. If you can't enjoy this weekend, I don't know what's wrong with you. Have a happy Easter, everyone, if that is your religion. And until next week, be safe, be good. Remember, the judge ain't back in till Monday. Y'all, go Birds. All right, everybody, take care. We're out of here. We love you.